Magic! More magic! Magic with a kick! Magic with a...
Insect.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my new and refreshed Swarmbolt Druid. If you are a fan of Transform, if you are a fan of Lightning, if you are a fan of Nature, this might be the build for you. As always, I will cover every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Let's switch into our Swarmblade form, and the skills we are using for this is Maelstrom and Tornado. These are our main damage dealers. Maelstroms you're going to create through dive, and once you dive, you will automatically start triggering lightning bolts at nearby enemies. When we hit, we're going to be triggering tornadoes, which are going to further make more lightning bolts, and you're just going to be hitting enemies like crazy. We are also using Serpent Strike, which is going to give us some survivability. It is also going to give us attack speed and, more importantly, kill threshold. Of course, we are using Swarmblade form, and the newcomer to this build is Gathering Storm. And simply put, Gathering Storm is going to push the damage way higher for our build. That was really quick. Let's do another one. And we're off. I have not come out of Swarmblade form. So you can go run after run with not having to transfer back into a human, which is really, really nice if you're spec'd it correctly. You can also make locusts, which will help keep you in form, and it generates a little bit of threat so it can keep enemies off you if you want. But ultimately, it's pretty simple. You are going to hit dive to generate maelstroms, and you are going to hit enemies to make tornadoes. That is the build. It is strong. Like all my builds, it can push in powered content, and it's fun. A lot of people are like, when I'm streaming, Aaron, what is this? A lot of people don't even know what Swarmblade is. Look at that, already done again. Let me show you single target with the Shade of Orbis. Hop out of there, Shade of Orbis. I am ready. And basically what we're gonna do is just try and face tank him. Tornadoes move around, which actually gives you a little range on here. So enemies that even get next to the tornado is going to get struck by the lightning bolt. And as you could see, Shade of Orbis and kill threshold dead. Easy. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's break down the skills, starting with our actual transformed Swarmblade. And please pay attention to the order in which I take the notes. This is how you're going to want to do it. The first thing you want to do is actually go up. This is going to unlock Serpent Strike, and it is going to unlock Tornado. That way you are going to be using two different skills inside of Swarmblade, Serpent Strike, and Tornado. Once you have this tree all filled up, you want to immediately go down and get Water Strider. Now, what this means is that you have a chance to cast a certain amount of Maelstroms when you use dive, and you are literally going to be using dive all the time. Now, once you have these two filled out, you're going to be using Serpent Strike, Tornado, and Maelstrom inside of your Swarmblade. You then simply want to go up and take this tree here. This is going to boost your base critical strike chance and allow you to stay inside of your Swarmblade form. Now, if you have more points, as you can see right now, unfortunately, all I have is 20. You'd want to put an extra point right here into Frenzy, and then everything else would go right here into attack speed. So that is for Swarmblade. Moving over to Tornado. Now for here, what you want to do is you want to go up first. You don't care about Tornado's damage, you care about the lightning strikes that Tornado is going to be making. And that is going to be your storm bolts right here. You want lightning frequency and you want charge storm to make your storm bolts. So these are the first two notes. You then want to come to the right and you want to unlock aspect of the storm, which is basically going to be triggering all the time because you're going to be making tornadoes all the time. And this is going to give you a 20% boost to your attack speed, and you're going to be getting some mana regen. The remainder of your points are going to go on this tree right here. This is going to boost your duration, and it is going to give you Storm Orb. Now, unfortunately, Storm Orb scales with physical. It does not scale with lightning, but that being said, it is still a spell, so you're just going to be getting some added damage from your Storm Orb. Moving over to Serpent Strike. Now, Serpent Strike on here is going to do a couple of things for us, all right? First thing you want to do is go straight up, and you want to get a kill threshold. This is one of the main things that Serpent Strike is going to do, and it is an awesome kill threshold with 18%. You then want to come straight down here and get these 3 nodes. This is going to give you dodge rating, and this is going to give you attack speed. You are then going to be coming to the left here with Fury, Cold Fang, and Shroud of Winter. You don't actually care about converting this to cold. What you do care about is Shroud of Winter, which is going to give you dodge rating per 10% cold resistance. So just a little bit of added survivability. The rest of your points are going to go right here into Venom, which is going to give you Armor Shred. And if you continue to have points more than 20 in this tree, you would get Venom to 5, and then you put your extra point right here into Steel Eater. Moving over to our newcomer, Gathering Storm. And to be clear, what you see right now is the only 20 points that will benefit you, okay? Let me explain. First thing you want to do is come over here and go to the left. You want to get Looming Clouds, Concentrated Storm, Eye in the Storm, and Rending Vortex. Crit strike per Maelstrom. Obviously, you're going to have a ton of Maelstrom on yourself, so you want that base crit chance. You then want to come down and get this right here. Lightning strikes twice, which has a chance to repeat your Stormbolts. You then want to come around and grab these right here. This is going to give you lightning penetration with your Stormbolts. It's going to give you excited bolts. So now you're going to consume a little bit of your mana, but you're going to be stronger with your Stormbolts, and you'll get additional damage while you are dual wielding. Now, right here, this is 16 points, and this is the main amount that will benefit you. Now, your last 4 points you'll put right here, which will just give you a guaranteed shock chance. Now, if you are using a axe or a mace, which I am not using right now, okay? If you are using an axe or a mace, you'd want to pull 2 points out of Jolting Strikes and put them right here into Tempest Weapon. Again, it is only for axes and maces, but it will boost the damage for your Stormbolts. Last but not least, Maelstrom. What you want to do with Maelstrom is you want to come down first, and you want to come up here and get Power of the Storm, and you want to put 2 into Strong Tides, and you want to put 3 into Energized. Now, the reason why you want 2 is this is going to minus the Storm stack requirements by 2, which means all you need is 4 Maelstrom stacks. And if you remember, you're going to be getting 4 stacks from your Water Strider. So as long as you use Dive 1 time, you will be triggering the Power of the Storm here inside of Maelstrom, and you'll be able to hit additional targets. This is great for clearing monoliths. You then want to come up and around here and get your mana efficiency. You want to get your haste, and you want to get your frenzy. And of course, you want the stacks to last as long as possible. And then your remaining points are just going to go right here into area. And if for whatever reason you have no problem with mana efficiency, you could stay in Swarmblade the whole time. You could pull a couple of points out of Calm and you could put them into Turmoil. The bigger radius does help. Those are the skills. Moving over to the passives, and right now my Swarmbolt is level 100. In the base tree, you want 8 into Natural Attunement, 1 into Harmony Blades. This allows you to dual wield. You want 5 into Hunter's Restoration, and 6 into Wisdom of the Wild. Wisdom of the Wild and Tempest Bond are pretty close. Tempest Bond is technically a little bit more damage. It's like 4 or 6%, but you have to have your totem out. So this is just going to be more consistent. You're then going to put 63 points into the Druid tree. You want 5 into Plating, and on this node right here, obviously if you need a little more endurance endurance percent, you can put more into Plating. For me, I needed 5 points to max it out. 5 into Resonance, 7 into Prowess, 5 into Focus Wrath, 1 into Rancor. This is going to allow you to stay inside of Swarmblade. 5 into Wind in the Leaves for your attack speed. 4 into Bushstalker. I tried to pull this point out, but you can't. You need to have 1 extra point here. Technically, you could push this between Attunement. I'd rather have the crit chance. 8 into Wisdom. This is going to give you a ton of crit avoidance. You gain additional crit avoidance based upon your Attunement. So you're going to manage this based upon your gear. You then go 8 into Rageborn, 10 into Hideskin, and 5 into Impervious. So this is the Druid passive tree. You then come over to Beastmaster, where you're going to get your aspect of the boar. 8 into Yerson Strength, 1 into Savagery, 2 into Ambush, and then you want your Boar Heart, and you want to be able to trigger this through your melee attack, so you want 2 points here. I've tested this with 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, and 4 points. 2 and 3 feels better, but 2 is normally enough. And where it really matters is when you're fighting a boss, which will be triggered all the time. And then your last 8 points right here go into Shamanistic Infusion, which gives you more attunement and more penetration. Those are the passives. Moving over to last Epoch tools, where we're going to break down the blessings, idols, gear, and character sheet, starting with blessings. Now, for this character, we are not using ward. We're using life, endurance percent, endurance threshold, crit avoidance, armor, and leech. So no ward on this build. The first blessing you're going to want is spell damage leech to health, which is going to give you a great form of sustain. We then went all resistances. We went lightning shred, which is going to help you with your damage output, and then dual armor, armor percent, and base armor. So those are the blessings. Moving over to the idols, the main idol you're going to be looking for is increased life, and that can go as high as 9%, and increased lightning damage, which can go as high as 30. And you can have 4 of these. Now, one of these for this build, I put elemental resistance just to give us a little more survivability, but ultimately you can have 4 life and increased lightning damage idols. We then have double health right here. And then the 2 idols, we have increased spell damage while transformed and increased lightning damage. So lots of damage and survivability you're going to get through your idols. Now, moving over to gear, I'm happy to say that there is nothing required for this build. You don't got to go target farm a certain item forever to get this to unlock. I will show you some best in slots, but they are not required. We are using a Claim Scepter, very, very easy to find. It is a common drop in the Stolen Lance. You can target farm it, and if you are in Merchant's Guild, you could literally get it for free with legendary potential. The other item we are using is a Storm-Carved Testament. This falls from the Fight of Lagon, everybody's favorite god. And this is going to boost your spell damage or your lightning spell damage quite a bit. Now I'll go through each item one at a time. Helmet, crit strike multiplier while transformed. Amulet, crit strike multiplier, lightning penetration, double life. Armor, level to Swarmblade, level to Maelstrom, life. Belt, lightning, cleanse, double life. Boots, attunement movement, double life. Gloves, attunement, melee leech, life and crit avoidance. Ring, attunement spell. Ring, attunement spell. And then our offhand, we are using a katana. And there's lots you can get on here. You can get melee attack speed. You can get melee leech. You can get spell damage, and you can get double crit strike multiplier, and make sure you get the new affix on it, which is lightning penetration. So that is the gear, the idols, and the blessings. Moving over to the character sheet. So in its current form, at least broken down this way, we do have 92 points to attunement, 6 to vitality, movement speed is 36, and you'll have haste almost the entire time because of Maelstrom. Resistances are pretty solid. Armor's up to almost 2,200, which is 39%. And then when you go over to our other defenses, endurance right now is at 61%. Endurance threshold's at 1,800. Crit avoidance, 92. And on here, we have 4,500 life. So you're going to have life, crit avoidance, endurance threshold, sustain, and armor with your resistances. As long as you are attacking and leeching, you're going to be a pretty tanky bug. So now let's talk about leveling. Aaron, this is great, but how do I make my own Swarmbolt? How do I go from level 1 to what I see on screen? I will show you. Now, when I play Primalist, I level all of them the exact same way. It doesn't matter if I'm a Beastmaster, a Shaman, or a Druid. I use the same 3 skills. The first skill you want is Swipe. And this is just going to be melee hitting. It's going to give you damage and leech, damage in area, and a kill threshold, so you can knock out enemies quick. First skill, Swipe. And there's so many weapons you can use for melee. Second skill you're going to want is Maelstrom. And you want to come down here and actually turn Maelstrom from cold to physical. You want to get Cyclone and turn it into a physical spell. So you've got Maelstrom going around you, and you are hitting enemies with Swipe. But you don't want to actually have to click Maelstrom, because that would be ridiculous. So the third skill you are going to take is War Cry. And what you're going to do is come down here to the left. You can kind of see it because my face is in the way, and get Whirlpool. And what this does is you now cast Maelstrom when you use War Cry, and you can get 4 points of this. That means you're hitting, Warcry, which makes Maelstrom, and then you just keep running. Those 3 skills will get you through the entire campaign. And once you unlock Maelstrom, you should come down here and get basically Berserker, and you want to boost your attack speed so you just hit quicker. You also want to use Fury Leap, but you're going to put this on your bar, and on here you're going to use it unspec'd. So you'll have it set up like this. I could just do it really quick. Swipe here, leap there, Warcry, and Maelstrom. And you can just kind of set it like this. That way you're hitting enemies. And Warcry, which would trigger Maelstrom, and then you can still leap. You will fly through the campaign. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new and refreshed Swarmbolt? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I can do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. 2 asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course only if you think I've earned it. And if I haven't earned it, I'm going to work harder for you. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you to the first 141 members that have signed up. I get asked all the time, what's the best way to support? And Patreon is it. You get access to the VIP lounge. You get access to exclusive content. You get access to game night, movie night. We have a bunch of stuff planned. And you get access to audio and video streaming with me. Best way to support Patreon, first link in the description. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.